I played 100 days of Stardew Valley, but as a chicken farmer. Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome back to another 100 day challenge Stardew Valley video. Let's jump straight into the rules and let the challenge commence. Challenge 1. To obtain a great variety of chickens, including white, brown, blue and void chickens. Challenge number 2. To make over 1 million gold by the end of the 100 days. And the final challenge. To always have Robin in action, either making a silo or a coop or any other essential buildings that we need to make this challenge work. So there you have it, let's jump straight into the video and have some fun. Day number 1, let the chicken challenge commence. As we can see, I'm using a few new mods. My house looks really cool. Just so you know, the door on the left doesn't actually work, it's just for aesthetic purposes. I start my day off with the usual routine of cutting down trees, mining up some rocks, planting some crops and setting up a chest. Once all of these activities are done, we are then on the hunt for forageables. We're also going to go to Pierre, we're going to spend the starter money for lovely potatoes. Who doesn't like a nice potato for dinner? Next up, we're going to run our citrusap forest. We're going to pick up more forageables. We just got a level up there, which is magnificent. That means we can go ahead and make wild spring seeds on day number 2. 20 wild spring seeds good to go, which will be a fantastic moneymaker later on in the game. I swing by into town, look at the help wanted poster, and we can see Lewis wants a largemouth bass, 300 gold. I wasn't going to turn that down at all. I also rubbish through the bins to see if anything useful pops out. Sometimes you'd be amazed at what you get in some of these rubbish bins. Diamonds, for example, they are extremely rare, but it's always worth the old rubbish. Straight down to Willie, of course, we get the fishing rod. And we also hoe up the ground as well in hopes to get an artifact, which we did with lovely glass shards. We're going to give those straight into Gunther, which means 250 gold for me for a quest complete. So Gunther is happy, I am happy, and I spent the rest of the day just doing some fishing. I got bubbles up here in the lake, and I've actually got these bubbles for the entirety of the day, so I was able to get level 2 fishing no problem up here. The big challenge now was inventory management. I had a lot of fish but very few inventory slots, and I didn't think about bringing the chest up with me, and I didn't have my axe. So I constantly had to swap out fish, throw away other items, which was technically wasting money, which was unfortunate. I did head back down into town to see if I can get more money and hopefully afford the fiberglass rod today. So I gave Lewis his largemouth bass. Lewis gave me 300 gold. With that 300 gold and with the fish that I had currently accumulated, I decided to go to Winnie here to buy a fiberglass rod. Let's see if I have enough money for it. Unfortunately, I didn't. I was short by just a few hundred gold, as the fiberglass rod was 1800 gold and I only had 1548. So I just spent the rest of the day fishing, and I decided to get the fiberglass rod the next day. No problem at all. So I went back up to the lake area that night, pulled up more fish up here, and I got some nice things out of the chest. I got a lot of coal, stone and copper ores, all of course super handy materials. Day 3 we get the rainy day, so I try to capitalise on this and get as much catfish as possible. I save myself a nice amount of money. I got a diamond as well in the chest, so I was really happy about that. Back to Winnie, sold him a few fish. It was time to purchase the fiberglass rod. The fiberglass rod is amazing because it gives you a much better loot pool when you get those lovely fishy treasure chests. You can also attach bait to the fiberglass rod, which increases the fish bite rate. So I bought some bait, added that to my current stack, 60 pieces of bait, ready to go. Combined that with the trout soup, and I had a pretty good setup. Good enough to definitely nab a few catfish. Just like the one I caught there. That was a gold star catfish. Look at that, 300 gold, it was just so nice. Went with the Fisher perk, 25% more for fish. That was a no-brainer for me. The more money I got, the better. So I got a good burst of money there, almost 4,500 gold. It was time to start looking at wood production. It was also time to start looking at coops so we can build up our cool chicken farm. It was after Robins, and for 300 wood, 100 stone and 4,000 gold, this would get us a coop, and we were going to get lots of these. This is of course the first of many. We're also going to have cool themes for all our chickens that are going to go into these coops, so stay tuned, the challenge is on for you watchers. Give a Caroline some gifts on day 4. We want to get her to 2 hearts to get those lovely tea saplings that are going to make our life way easier. I fished for the rest of the day as well, just to get some more money. Fishing is by far one of the best ways to get money to start the game. Day 5, the parsnips were ready. Pick up all the parsnips. Now, I decided not to sell the parsnips. Instead, I was going to use those for energy we could out to the mines and things like that. Watered up the crops Got cookies off the Great Mother. Thank you very much, Mother. Those cookies will go to great use. Down into the mines. And I got to floor 10, which was nice. Got some leather boots, which was a nice defense option for myself. Put those on straight away, and it was only 11:40, so I went down deeper. Got to floor 20. I got to steel small sword. Equipped it that straight away because it was much better than the rusty sword. And I actually got a room here with loads of crates. Busted open all the crates, and look what I got. Yes, I got a beautiful club weapon. This was a huge upgrade. The wood club is a ferocious weapon, especially for starting out. It'll make quite the short work of monsters. I made it down to the dark floors, and it was 150, so it's just about time for me to pass out. And what a great day it was for the mines. I got down 30 levels in one day, so I was really happy with that progress. I got level 1 farming, which is nice. Got level 2 mining and level 1 combat. Let's go. So, day number 6. Priority is wood. Because once Robin finishes that coop, I needed to have enough wood, stone and gold for the next coop straight away. Otherwise the challenge would be forfeit. It was after Clint, of course. Instead of giving these items to Gunther, I had to sell them to Clint because I needed money for the coop. Gunther would have to wait on these artifacts for later on. At the moment, I had to prioritize money, even if that meant selling precious materials and ores that I needed for progression. Of course, fishing is always a great way as well to get money. That rare disc will sell for a few hundred gold, which does help me out a lot as well. Day number 7, it was time to harvest our lovely potatoes, and we were going to sell those, of course, to make some nice profit. I also got some gold bars as well, just getting lucky with the fishing and whatnot, and the crates and the mines, so I'm going to sell the gold bars also for some extra cash. I also went to Pierre here just to check out what he had. Just sold him potatoes because I needed money that day to not only get Robin to put a new coop on my farm, but also to get some chickens off Marty. Let the chicken theme game begin. Can you guess the theme of the current names of chickens? We are going to start with Luffy. Next up, we've got Zoro. The next chicken is Nami. The next chicken, anytime now, is Usopp. Have you figured it out? If you have, let me know in the comments. The themes will get harder, of course, to get a little bit more obscure. So you gotta keep your senses about you every time we get a batch of chickens off Marty. We're gonna cover all manner of themes in this game. It was after Robin to get another coop. This was the second coop we're gonna put on the farm. Later on we will upgrade the coops. We just couldn't afford it right now, so we had to keep getting the level 1 coops. So I got down further in the mines, got myself a nice slingshot, thrown it away because, you know, I just really have a need for it. Day 8, look at my beautiful chickens. Petted my chickens. Went to the wizard, got high off some potion, had a great time in the wizard's hut. What glorious adventures we had. Back to the community centre, and I was looking for the foraging bundle to get some handy dandy free spring seeds. And look at that, 30 free spring seeds ready to go. Well, not totally free, do have to give some forageables, but the payoff is so worth it. It was another day of cutting down trees, because wood was something that is needed constantly. Best time to get wood and stone is on the day or the day after Robin starts building a coop, so you get that ready early and then focus on the money later on. So I'm going to plant all those spring seeds now. The great thing about the spring seeds is that they don't need scarecrows. You just have to make sure they're watered every day, you know. If I get rainy days, that's a huge bonus. Not really bothered too much with extra crops, just focusing on seeds for now. I'm also giving Caroline gifts whenever I see her, so I give her the maximum of 2 gifts per week. Got her to 1 heart there, which is nice. 1 heart to go for her lovely tea sapling recipe. Then she'll probably never see us again. We're going to take her secret and run. So we're just doing some more fishing here. If I get things like emeralds and whatnot out of the chests, you know, I'll sell those straight away. So my chickens finally grew up. About 5 chickens there were, laid eggs for me. I've sold the eggs, of course. Later on, we'll convert them into mayonnaise, but for now, we're just selling the eggs for money. It's time to get Robin to make us another coop. This is the 3rd coop now that we have down, and we're on day number 10. So, look how lucky I got here. A help wanted quest. Slay 6 frost jellies for 510 gold. It's too good to pass up. Straight down into the mines. Decimated some frost jellies, and I got an easy 510 gold once I talked to Mayor Lewis. It was a no-brainer to pick it up because I was coming down there anyway to progress with the mines. Why not kill some jellies and get some money while I'm down there? That money for some people may seem like an insignificant amount, but for me it was super important as I needed money for the next coop for Robin. So I needed more money today to purchase some chickens, and I also needed some money for hay because it was going to rain the next day. The chickens weren't going to go outside to eat any of the grass. So I started selling items to vendors directly. For example, Clint with the minerals, Marnie here, I could just sell her some eggs. And after all this, then it was time to purchase some chickens. Hence, let's finish out the first theme of this challenge. Can you guess what I'm talking about when I finish out these names? We got Sanji, Frankie, Robin, and Brooke. And that finishes off the first theme. Day 11. We get Robin's last axe, that's more money for us. We also get a help wanted quest from Caroline, super lucky she wants a smallmouth bass. It wasn't about the money for this quest, it was about the friendship points we're going to get for completing this quest. So I made getting that fish my priority, gave that to Caroline, and that pushed her almost to 2 hearts. Which means we're definitely going to have Caroline in the bag within the next few days because we were nearing the end of the week, which means the tea saplings were right on our doorstep. So incoming, huge amounts of money very soon. So I tried to give Robin her broken axe today, but she just wouldn't take it off me. She was just too busy working, and that is what I call dedicated. Total respect to Robin there. She wouldn't even look at me to say hello. She just wanted to build that coop as quickly as possible. I also treated myself to a backpack upgrade. It was something that was badly needed for a while. So I spent what cash I had and I got that. I also made 2 mayonnaise machines. It was time to start processing these eggs into mayonnaise, which means a greater profit for me, more money for me, and that means less stress when it comes to trying to get money to afford these coops every couple of days. So it only takes 3 hours for an egg to convert it to a mayonnaise, which is great. That means you can go through multiple eggs every single day. I made a ton of field stacks from all the trees I've been cutting down, and these field stacks will come in super handy, especially when it comes to cutting down more trees in the future. Today was primarily spent on processing, just to increase my profits. I did of course want to make more mayonnaise machines, but the only thing that was stopping me was earth crystals, and I had to go back to the top tier of the mines to farm those. I did do some more fishing today, of course. Got myself some lovely catfish. 375 gold now for the gold star catfish, which was nice. The beaches visited me on day number 13 here. I told him I wanted the mushroom cave because that cave is way more profitable. I also headed on over to the Easter event, not to buy strawberries, but to crush some kids and let them know who the boss around Stardew Valley was. After a ferocious encounter, there was one clear winner, and that was myself. And as prize, I got the lovely straw hat, which I put on me immediately as I didn't have any hat slot items at the moment. Today was spent going into all my coops, picking up eggs, and processing those into mayonnaise, which would sell to make me money. The more money I had, the more options I had when it comes to placing down a regular coop or upgrading one of the existing coops to a big coop. It's also worth noting too that the more you upgrade the coops, the more features they come with. The auto feed feature being extremely handy for rainy days, but you need to upgrade your coop to get that. It was back to the lovely Robin. This time she took her axe off me and I was rewarded with 250 gold. That put me up to almost 6,700 gold. It was that time of the week again. It was time to get Robin to build us yet another coop. Put this one down beside the greenhouse, of course. So once that was done, it was back to Marnie. So I'm going to sell Marnie some eggs here because I needed just that extra bit of money to get some chickens. Didn't have enough for 4 chickens, unfortunately, so I ended up just purchasing a few, but I'll go back there later and get the rest of them. So it was time for the next chicken theme. Can you guess what this theme will be for our regular chickens? So we're going to go with Chopper, Jimmy, and Vegapunk. It was straight back into Pierre's, sold him some mayonnaise directly because I wanted to get the money to go straight back down to Marnie's so I could purchase the last chicken for today so that they'd all grow up at the same time. It just makes micromanaging that bit easier. The last chicken to finish out that theme was called Sunny. I went into Caroline's room then. She's going to give me a recipe here. Tea sapling. This is going to make life so much easier for me. I also spent a great deal of time today cutting down more trees to get more wood. Because we have to remember, it's 300 wood per coop. So that was the target that I had to meet every couple of days. Now it does get easier once you upgrade the axe and whatnot. You get better resources and whatnot later on to make getting wood easier. But for now, we had our basic axe, and we just had to cut down trees the hard way. Back into the mines for progression to get the star drop, but also for stone, because we also needed 100 stone every few days as well. So when we get to the mines, we get some stone. Made some more mayonnaise machines, which was really nice. I had 4 mayonnaise machines now, which meant less time processing, more time, gathering resources, and making even more money. The more mayonnaise machines I had, the less time I had to go back and do refills every single day. So, I went back down into the mines today. I just love getting rooms like this when they're just fitting at the top of crates. 9 times out of 10 when you get this many crates, you normally get something really good. And I got a small magnet ring, which was nice. I also got some cave carrots and some hardwood, all coming super handy later on. So it was finally time, day 16, to pick up all these lovely forageables. And I was going to convert all of these forageables into spring wild seeds, and then of course convert these spring wild seeds into lovely tea saplings. Now, in order to make a tea sapling, you need also fibre and wood. So I had to be very careful about the wood requirement because I needed wood to get a coop set up for Rabbit. So it was time to upgrade some tools. Clint will work on my pickaxe and I'll have a copper pickaxe in a few days. I also got level 5 forage. We'll go with Forester. 25% more wood from trees was a no-brainer for the challenge I was doing. At the end of that day, I made a huge 36,000 gold, primarily from selling tea saplings. The next day it was raining, so I had to go into the coops, pet all the chickens, and I also had to get hay off Marty too so the chickens don't get cranky because they aren't going to go outside to eat the grass. I did however have a lot more mayonnaise machines, which means processing these eggs was becoming way less time consuming, which means more profits for me. Went into Marty's of course was to purchase some hay to keep the chickens happy. It was also time to purchase new chickens. Can you guess the theme? We've got Cloud, Tifa, Barrett and Aries. Most people will know what that team represents, some people might not though. It was also back to Robin for another coop to be built on our lovely farm. So because it wasn't ready there, I took advantage of this fishing wise, pulled up some catfish. I also got a Judge membership because we love Georgia forever. Got my copper pickaxe off Clint, which was brilliant. Gave him another tool to upgrade straight away. This time I gave him the axe to upgrade to a copper axe. Back down into the mines, it was time to harvest more lovely ores. Also got the tundra boots, I was happy with those. That was a booty upgrade for me. Day 19, it wasn't raining, the chickens were out and they were super happy, feasting on the lovely grass. It was back in to the coops to collect all the lovely chicken eggs. As you can see now we have loads of coops on the farm, 4 chickens in each coop, lots of eggs to collect. Back to the mines then, once the processing was finished with, once the chickens were fully happy, it was time to make some progress. So I was getting down pretty far, I'm on the 70s now, fighting some skeletons. I then went into the Georgia Mart to pay our lovely friend Barnes a visit. Went with the minecart upgrades of course to get the fast travel, which means less time consumption for us, and that overall equals more profit. Went with the miner perk here, plus 1 ore per vein, that was a no-brainer for myself, as I will need lots of bars later on. Back to Robin of course, it was time to construct a new farm building. We went with another coop, because why not, more coops we have the better. Got my copper axe off Clint, but what I did was I gave the axe straight back to him after he broke open all his geodes. I'm going to get to upgrade the axe to a steel axe. A steel axe upgrade means less energy consumption. That means I could do more in the day, no problem. It was time to get more chickens. Can you guess what demon is this time? Nanaki, Yuffie, Ketsit, Sid. I wonder where they're all from. I also paid Gus a visit today, just to purchase a couple of beers. They weren't for me however, they were for Shane. So the reason why I wanted to befriend Shane was to get access to his lovely secret blue chickens. Shane however was not the most welcoming person, and straight after I gave him his love gift, he told me to get lost. I then had to witness the walk of shame and run out of the nearest store as quickly as possible. I took my frustration on the skeletons in the mines, and I was rewarded with a bone sword. What a turnaround for me! The bone sword is far superior to the forest sword that I got, so it was a really nice weapon upgrade to get. I also made it down to floor 80, and I got the firewalker boots. I kept going, because I wanted to get the star drop as quickly as possible, but before I got the star drop I decided to go back up to the top of the caves and farm some earth crystals to make more mayonnaise machines. Day 22, just to give you an overview of how many chickens are currently on the farm now at the moment. As you can see, we have a fairly sizable amount of chickens on the farm, but this isn't even scratching the surface compared to what we're going to have on day 100. So as you can see, I've got a lot more mayonnaise machines now put down inside the coop here, so I can process a lot more eggs on a 3 hourly basis. I finally get my steel axe back off Clint. I give my copper pickaxe to upgrade to a steel pickaxe just so I can get further down the mines easier. So it was back to cutting down trees, and with the steel axe it means less swings to cut the trees down, which was great. That means I can conserve a lot more energy. I'd get a lot more wood on a daily basis. I could also take out the tree stumps all around my farm, which means that grass would grow in those areas, which means more feed for my chickens. So I'm trying to leave as much grass patches as possible because all that grass will spread out over time. I also went into the secret woods here as well, and I got all the tree stumps inside here. I also wanted to get up to 200 hardwood for the Ginger Island boat repair as well for later on. So it was back to Robin, and this time it wasn't the coop we were getting. This time it was a silo, just so we could store hay inside, because every time we get the rainy days I have to go to Marnie to buy hay. Marnie's hay is very expensive, so this silo would save me tons of money. I spent a great portion of today just cutting down trees that were left over on the farm. As you can see, I have almost all the resources the farm comes with totally depleted. But it is worth it because the more space I have, the more grass they can grow, which means the more hay I can give my chickens. So it was a nice deal. Back to Marnie, time for the next chicken theme. 4 chickens this time. We've got Vincent, Jesse, Biggs, and Marley. Can you guess where they're from? After Marnie's, it was back cutting more trees. That night I also gave Shin another bear. He was actually more friendly towards me this night, maybe because the friendship has increased in him a little bit, so he had a little bit more respect for me. What he didn't know is that I was only interested in his secret blue chickens. Once I got his blue chickens, Shane, just like Caroline, would never see or hear from me again. So it was the flower dance the next day, and guess who I dumped it? That's right, it was Shane. Time to woo Shane into giving up his chicken secrets. I was prepared to go to any length to learn how he breeds those super rare blue chickens. If that meant dancing at the flower dance event, then so be it. I would be his dance partner, and I would dance until I dropped. Shane agreed to the dance, and I ran up as quickly as I could to the mayor, demanded he start the dance straight away. And was I in for a challenge? The ladies and gents of Stardew Valley are ferocious dancers. I tried my best to keep up, but could not. They were just too flexible. Maybe it's just something in the ground that they eat, but all I could do was squat up and down and make a brave smiley face to let Shane know that I was having a great time, even though I wasn't. Then around that day I reached level 5 farming. I went straight for tiller, of course. The reason why I went for tiller is because I want to grab artisan after that, which means I can get a lot more from the mayonnaise. Rancher did sound quite nice, but the mayonnaise had to be prioritised, of course. Back to the mines, I got a diamond, which was so nice. Look what I got here. Yes, double diamonds for me. Not only that, but double the XP. That was 300 mining XP in the space of a few minutes. It was just so good. So I made my way down the mines today pretty well. I also got a new weapon called a slammer. And the slammer is quite the weapon to get. It does crazy damage. Not only that, but you could pound the ground with it for a huge AoE devastating attack. Finally got down to floor 100 where I obtained my first star drop. I ate the star drop with great pride, and guess what it reminded me of? That's right, it reminded me of chickens. Because I was just obsessed with chickens. Level 5 combat, we're going to fighter of course, 10% more damage. So I saw some stuff today and I made a total of 8,509 gold, primarily from selling mayonnaise. Back to Robin, and guess what? That's right, it was time to get her to make another coop just for us. I lost count at this rate now the amount of coops that I've put on the farm, but there's loads of coops there. Started smelting bars, breaking open rocks for stone of course. All this stone was going to come in handy for coops later on, and it was into the secret woods to get vegetables and wood, especially hardwood. The next day it was raining. That means all the chickens retreated inside. It was okay however because I had a silo, which means I could just pull out hay and give it to the chickens without going down to Marnie's. The silo was a huge time saver and money saver for me. It was going to be a day of processing indeed. The more coops I got, the more chickens I got, the more processing that needed to be done, the less time I had to do other activities. This time I decided to upgrade my steel pickaxe to a gold pickaxe, but that didn't stop me from going back into the mines and farming fibre. I just primarily stuck to floor 81 because that's a really good floor for farming fibre, And I ended up getting loads of fibre then by just farming this floor for the whole day. Why did I want so much fibre? Why? To make more tea saplings, of course, to get more money. As we can see, sometimes when you go to floor 81 you get tons of fibre, sometimes you might not, but consistently it is a fantastic floor for fibre gathering on a daily basis. You can't go wrong with floor 81 in the mines. So once I was finished with my fibre gathering, I managed to make 82 tea saplings, and boy was I going to get lots of money for these. So I put those straight into my shipping bin, I called it a night, and I made a huge amount of money. 41,000 gold I got for the tea saplings there, and a few thousand from the mayonnaise. With all that money I had 60,000 gold. It was time to go back to lovely Boris to get another upgrade. This time we were going to go with the bus, of course, so we could access the Skull Cavern and get our hands on some advanced materials, such as the iridium ores, because they sell for quite a nice lot of money too. I also decided to treat myself to the last backpack upgrade for 10,000 gold. Better to get this earlier rather than later so we don't have to think about it later on. I also purchased a few more bears off Gus to give to good old Shane to get his hearts up to learn these chicken secrets. Later on in the day it was back to cutting down trees. I also visited Shane here as well to give him a beer. He was super happy with that. And then I spoke to him, and guess what? It was a normal conversation. Shane was becoming a lot more trusting. More so than I knew. It was only a matter of time before I could approach him about his blue chickens. I spent the rest of the day cutting down trees like a pro. With my steel axe, it only took a few swings to fell these trees. A lot more wood for me indeed. The quota was still the same, 300 wood every few days. I got level 7 foraging, the tree fertilizer would serve me well. Back to Robin, of course, it was time to make yet another coop. It was also back to Clint to get my gold pickaxe, but I didn't stop there. It was straight back down into the mines for the space boot, level 110. Level 120 it was the Skull Key, which means we can now access Skull Cavern. I also visited Shane when he was working, snuck him a beer. I wouldn't tell Morris if he didn't, despite the fact that I was Morris's biggest investor. It was then a lovely Skull Cavern run, and I got lucky, got some energy tonics here inside the treasure floor, and I also got some sweet holes as well. Went down the hole, of course, got a few levels, but the big reward today was the prismatic shard, as this would give me my first galaxy weapon. This was the Galaxy Sword transformation, one of the strongest weapons in the game, of course. It was time for another chicken theme. Homer, Marge, Lisa and Bart. Can you guess where they're from? It's not an easy one, of course, but there might be some people that might not know those names. Of course, the next day was tree cutting. 10,000 gold from Mr. Key for making it down to level 25 in the Skull Cavern. That was greatly appreciated. Back to Robin, and this time we were going to go with the big coop because we had the money and the resources to start upgrading these basic coops to bigger coops. It was time to purchase more animals off Marty. Let's guess the theme. So we're going to go with Maggie, Santa's helper, Mr. Burns and Smithers. Spent the rest of the day cutting down trees, of course. Story of my life, what else would we do? Cutting down trees. The next day we got some coffee beans, which is really nice. Planted more coffee on the farm. I also got some lovely bars I could sell later, and I started giving artifacts to Gunther because I needed access to the sewers to get the Krobus, to get the void eggs, to get void chickens. I also went to the travelling cart merchant, picked up a rare seed for the handy starfruit later on. Then it was back into Skull Cavern, and if I saw clumps of ores like this, it was always worth my time to blow them open because gold ore still had its uses as well as iron ores. I didn't get great luck today, but I kept out here primarily for stone. If I got anything else in the mix, it was considered a bonus. Iridium ore was also very welcome. This time I went for the deluxe coop upgrade, which means I now had one coop on the farm that could fit 12 chickens that also had an auto feed feature, which was super helpful for me. Also went down to the beach, repaired the bridge so I could access to the tide pools here, so I could pick up more forages off the ground to sell to make more money. Back to Marty, this time we're going to purchase a lot more chickens. This time we're going with Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi and Sakura. I bet most of you won't know where those names came from. As you can see now, we've got some more mayonnaise machines put down in the old coop here. We could bang out a lot more mayonnaise on a 3-hourly basis. So it was back to cutting down trees, and we were slowly but surely making our way through all the trees in Stardew Valley. Eventually there will come a time where we will have to make tree farms. It was back to the lovely Morris today. We're going to get the bridge upgrade, of course, so we can get access to the quarry. The quarry brings loads of great resources. The primary resource being a site upgrade to the golden site. The golden site not only yields more resources per harvest, but it also has a greater range. Back to Rabbit, of course, another big coop upgrade. So what we're going to do now is probably just... Oh my god, I just got the lucky ring. Oh yes, no padding for me. Sorry Poxiel, but you're on your own, my friend. The lucky ring out of a crate, that is how GamerGar does it, everyone. Such great luck right there. I was just so lucky right there. The lucky ring. The rarest ring in the game by a long mile. And it just pops out of a crate on a super unlucky day, of course. However, luck wasn't fully on my side today as I got carried away with the excitement and died. I didn't lose too much. I lost a few ores, lost a couple of bombs. So it wasn't too bad. I got to keep my lucky ring, so I was super happy about that. I'll get over the spicy eels. The next day it was back to petty chickens, picking up eggs, and turning the eggs into mayonnaise, which is what I do every single morning, of course, unless I do a skull cavern run. Then it's double production time the next day. So this is just me going into all the coops just to give you a solid indication as to the way these chickens are set up at the moment. This is our deluxe coop right now that we're looking at. As we can see, it's really big, so I might as well use the space inside to fill it up with as many mayonnaise machines as possible. So I got level up at foraging today, which is really nice. The grapes would go far, of course. Back to Robin for another coop upgrade, and then the next naming theme begins. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Shredder, Kang, Bebop, and Rocksteady. Can you guess where they're from? Then it was back to Shane, giving him more bears on the side, the job. Of course, I wouldn't tell Morris if he wouldn't. It was like a little secret between me and Shane, just to gain his trust that bit more so he could tell me the secrets to his chickens. Look at all the chicks we had on the farm now. Every morning they just pour out of the coops and eat the grass on the farm. This is why it was super important to leave as much grass on the farm as possible. Also, if I needed hay, I would side the middle of the grass, not the edges, so that it would grow back faster. There is a pro tip for you. So we're only on day 39 at the moment, and just look at the sheer amount of chickens we have. Can you imagine how many chickens we will have by the time we get to day 100? It is going to be quite the sight to behold. There is also a bonus challenge for those of you who have made it this far. Over time, I will hide a golden chicken on the farm. If you can spot where the golden chicken is, then kudos to you. So this time I was planting some more seeds in the ground, such so I could make more tea saplings later on. Back into Skull Cavern on day 40. But this time, we were hunting for stone. We were also hunting for iridium ores, so we could make iridium bars, so we could sell those for tons of money. Today was a pretty good day in the Skull Cavern. I got lots of stone, lots of gold ores, lots of iron ores, and lots of iridium ores. It was another coop upgrades in Robins, and then it was a rainy day into the secret woods, of course, breaking open more tree stumps. I got lots of iridium bars here as well, so I'm going to sell all these to make a really nice profit. Thanks to that lovely profit, I was able to visit Morris the next day and get another nice upgrade for himself. I went to Paddy this time, just so I could pan around Stardew Valley. Who knows, I might get another lucky ring. Back into the mines today to farm primarily fibre and stone. Fibre being the primary resource, of course, because I wanted to make more tea saplings. I then went into the Skull Cavern on day 43 and I got a really nice hat which I put on immediately. And it was back to farming more stone and minerals to sell to make more money. I finally got level 10 mining and I went with the blacksmith, which means bars are worth more. Got clipped to break open a ton of geodes, which I would give to Gunther, trying to get access to the swords as quickly as possible. It was time to smelt more iridium bars on day 44, and did I have a lot of bars to smelt. Went to Clint for the good old tool upgrade. This time we're going to go with the gold axe to make cutting down trees a lot easier. Almost 84,000 gold today from selling iridium bars and other bits and bobs as well that we didn't really need. So with all that money, it was time to get Robin to do another coop upgrade to a big coop. Next up for the naming team, we had Harry, Ron, Neville Longbottom, Dumbledore, Snape. We also had McGonagall. We had Ginny. We had George, Percy. Can you guess who those characters are from? I bet most people can. It was time to get the final judge upgrade, which was of course the greenhouse. Also give Shade a bear. And of course, look at all these lovely forageables that we get to pick up. All these lovely summer forageables would be converted into tea saplings that would sell for lots more money for us, which means lots more coops and chickens for us on the farm. So with all the tea saplings I got today, I'm going to get a lot more money for that. I also got a nice surprise here from Morris and the team, and I got rewarded with a lovely Joja Cola machine which generates one Joja Cola every day. That's why going to Joja is just so good. You get a free Joja Cola every single day. Day 46 was a day of cutting down trees. Hundreds of wood was needed now for these coop upgrades. Huge demands for wood constantly. So I made 63, almost 64,000 gold today from selling tea saplings. What a day it was. Day 47 I decided to put down some power pylons just so I can get some battery packs later on so I can get into Ginger Island. It was time for another coop upgrade from Robin. Robin was basically working around the clock, poor Robin, but she was making lots of money from us. Went up into the bathhouse area and I cut down all the trees up here just to get my hands on that wood. It's also worth too that the desert has a lot of trees, so occasionally I'd go to the desert and then circle around back to Citrus Forest, then go back into the bathhouse area because the trees do respawn over time. The Skull Cavern run today was an amazing run with prismatic shards. It was a rainy day day number 49, so we spent the whole day petting the chickens, picking up their eggs, turning the eggs into mayonnaise and selling it for a huge profit. As you can see, we've got loads of mayonnaise machines now. We also have loads of chickens that generate loads of eggs for us. Because these chickens are getting happier every time, we're getting large eggs which convert into gold star mayonnaises. Another big coop upgrade from Robin, so we're actually almost finished with the big coop upgrades now. Once this is done, we'll be looking at deluxe coops. So this time, for the next naming theme, we're going with Ash, Brock, Misty, Pikachu, Jesse, James, Coffee, and Ekans. Can you guess where they're all from? If I wasn't cutting down trees in the desert, I was wooing Shade to get his forbidden secrets. Gave another bear today, which increases friendship points for me. Only a matter of time before he would release the secrets of his blue chickens. Spent a great deal of time today processing materials, especially eggs into mayonnaise. I made some more mayonnaise machines, put them outside because they were taking up too much space inside the coop. So at the end of the day, I made a huge profit of 46,000 gold, primarily from iridium bars, some other items like sprinklers that I didn't need, and mayonnaise. I decided to take all the mayonnaise machines out of the coops and put them over here in the corner of the farm, and I put a fence around it. That way the chickens couldn't come in here and get in the way of my processing routines. So I spent a great deal of time today just processing all the eggs. Sometimes they would end up in a huge backlog of eggs, so I had to take time out of my day to just process all the eggs that I got into mayonnaise. It was also a great way to make money though. Day 53 was finally time. Shade taught me to come into his little barn where he showed me his fabulous blue chickens. Once Shade taught me the secret to make these blue chickens, I did not hesitate. I went to Robin. This time we're getting the deluxe coop update, and soon enough I'll be going to Martin to get blue chickens. I got bombs and salads today as well from Gus and the dwarf. It was time for another Skull Cavern run. But this time I was prepared. It was a super lucky day. I had loads of bombs and I had lots of healing food. I did get some prismatic shards, also some purple slime eggs which sell for quite a lot of money. And every time I got a prismatic shard, I was one step closer from getting a magic rock candy. Just 3 prismatic shards for a magic rock candy. Of course, the next day, they come around very quickly. It was back to Robin for another deluxe upgrade. I moved all my furnaces to the mines because I made quite a lot of furnaces from the copper ores and stone that had been accumulating. And I decided to convert all of my iridium ores into iridium bars. Got Clint to break open some more geodes as well today. And the earth crystals I got was a huge bonus. Got super lucky here, got a prismatic shard out of an omni geode. I was super happy with that. Then it was to Gunther to give him more artifacts in the hopes that he would give me a key to the source. I also cleared out all of the resources from the quarry and turned it into a little tree farm. The next day I got a visit from Gunther, which means I can have access to swords, I got access to vine eggs. Time for the next naming theme. We have Stitch, Mystique, Sullivan, Genie, Papa Smurf, Blue, Yandu, Flick. We also have Gonzo. We have Grimjow, Sonic, I'll be very surprised if anybody can figure out what that theme is from. Nobody's going to figure that out. So I got a star drop off Krobus, spent the day cutting down some trees, and I also get level 10 farming here, so I'm going to go with Artisan, buy some starfruit seeds off Sandy of course, just so we can make some extra money on the side. We're also using the greenhouse too to its maximum effect. Starfruit wine is a great money maker after all. Another deluxe coop from the Great Robin. I also get access to the special orders quest now, so we're going to go with the crop order. Anyone who ships 100 yams by the end of the season will be given lots of gold. So I took that request because it gives a lot of money. So I decided to start breaking open some vine eggs here. I put one vine egg into each deluxe coop, just so I could amass huge amounts of vine chickens as quickly as possible. Day 59 was a day of processing. Look at all the mayonnaise. So I changed my professions to coop master to basically cut down the incubation time on vine chickens by half, and it was another deluxe coop off Robin. As we can see, we have tons of chickens on the farm, including lovely blue chickens that we can now get from Marty. The tree farm has fully grown the quarry, so I spent a great deal of time today cutting down all these trees, which would give me tons of wood back. I saved the last few trees and I just put tappers on those instead, just to get some oak resins so I could make some kegs later on. I also put a little path around them to prevent debris from getting in my way when I'm collecting the resins. Went to the desert shredder today. I got a magic rock candy off her, which will serve me well when I go into the next Skull Cavern run. And as we can see, it's paid off greatly. I got lots of prismatic shards today, lots of iridium ores, which means tons of money. I also got lots of stone, iron and gold ores. Of course, it wouldn't be a day if we didn't go to Robin for another deluxe coop upgrade, and we went back to the mines to smelt all of our lovely iridium bars. We were going to make huge amounts of money soon. Back to Marty, but this time it was to buy some autograbbers. It was then for the next naming theme. We're starting out with Huggy Wuggy. He just loves hugs. Next up, we have Elsa. We have Dory, Dr. Manhattan of course, Nebula, Squirtle of course, Abe Sapien, and Netiri. So, look at all the chickens we have now on our farm. They just pour out of the coops. It's so funny just watching them go. Most of the coops now, a lot of them are deluxe coops. There's also a hidden challenge in this for me to put an auto grabber and an auto petter into every single one of these coops. Just so you know. It wasn't on the main challenge page. I decided to incorporate it as I was further into this playthrough. Back to Marty again. This time was to get more autograbbers because I had the money to do so. And I decided to fix up the board as well for Willy. So autograbbers are super handy because it means that all the eggs would just be stored in one place in each coop. That will make my life way easier. So we got our first Void Chicken, and we're going to go with the same theme for each Void Chicken. We're going to start with Blackbeard. Can you guess the theme when we're finished with the Void Chickens? Deluxe Coop upgrade from Robin, and we're going to go with Fragments of the Past Special Orders quest from Gunther. This will be trivial now that we can access Ginger Island. It'll be super easy to get the bone shards that we need 100 of to complete that quest. So, on Ginger Island, I run around, pick up as many golden walnuts as possible. What I'm really looking for here are resources, wood in particular. Ginger Island has tons of trees I can cut down for wood for future coop upgrades and, of course, for new coops as well. But not only that, it also has the volcano dungeon, which you can get lots of stone out of and ores. Not to mention great things from the chests. Now I got a soul sapper ring there, it's not the worst thing you can get, but from the stage we're at the moment, it's kind of useless for us. You can also get really nice enchants, and I got the Haymaker enchant here, which is super handy. That means that I can use my sword to cut down weeds, and there's a chance I can get hay back from that. I dropped some bombs here at the dig site area to get loads of bone fragments. And I just need 100 of those to complete Gunther's Special Orders quest. There was lots and lots of weeds on my Ginger Island farm. Cut all those away with the Galaxy Sword. Not only was I getting fibre, but I was also getting hay, which was going straight back to Stardew Valley. This time it was a regular coop from Robin because all the other coops were fully upgraded to deluxe coops. I also handed in the 100 bone fragments to Gunther. That was a quest complete. 3,500 gold in the bag. Next up, it was back to Marty for more autograbbers. But when we left, another Void Chicken hatched. We're going to call this one Sephiroth. We also got another white chicken. We're going to call this one Joffrey. So we spent the rest of the day just cutting down trees, as we usually do. Any sort of trees that respawn on Cinesap Forest or anywhere else were quickly cut down. I took a magic rock candy. It was back to Skull Cavern, and the prismatic shards were plentiful. Items like slime eggs were always great to get because you could sell those for loads of money. I passed out in style, having got hundreds of stone, hundreds of iridium ores, hundreds of iron and gold ores that of course I would smelt into bars and sell for huge amounts of money. Back to Rabbit, of course. This time we're just going to get up to another regular coop because I wanted to increase the amount of buildings I had. I then harvested up all the yams that I got just from taking on that special orders quest a good few days ago. That was going to get me a handy profit. Look at all the mayonnaise machines I've set up now. That's a lot of mayonnaise that I could get every single day. 177,000 gold, primarily from iridium bars, the yams and the mayonnaise. This time I purchased not 3 but 4 auto petters because I could afford it. And a new void chicken hatched. What evil name will we give this one? Dr. Robotnik. Just to give you an overview of all the chickens that have accumulated on the farm thus far. I also got some battery packs too, which is really nice. I could sell those for some extra money. And the mayonnaise was also ready. Back to the volcano dungeon though, I got another soul sapper ring. Wasn't happy with that, but I did enchant my axe and I got super lucky with it. I got the shaving enchant, which means more wood from the trees for me. I was very happy with that enchant. So, I went to the Stardew Valley Fair, put in a load of great quality items, and I won first place, which is really nice. Got 1,000 star tokens for that. Gambled on green until I had enough star tokens to get the star drop and other goodies off the Stardew Valley Fair merchant. Darth Vader for the next white chicken, followed by Scar. We were assembling quite a team of nasties indeed. Myers to follow up, of course, and Umbridge. Can't forget about Umbridge, can we? So I purchased more autograbbers off Marty, and the star fruits were ready to go at day 73. Picked up all the star fruits, and I'm going to convert those into starfruit wine. I'll make more kegs as I get more resins, of course. So I was literally spent the day just gathering all the artifacts from Professor Snail in the hopes to unlock his secrets, get his lovely golden walnuts, get access to Key's secret walnut room so I can get the advanced goodies. Level 10 foraging, of course, went with Lumberjack, that was a no-brainer. Purchased more auto petters off of the woman there, the Jojo Mart. Joker, Jigsaw, Danos, and of course, the Governor were all void chickens to be added to our lovely coops. Don't forget about Gus Fringe, of course. He won't forget about you. We made loads of money today from selling mayonnaise. We made 101,000 gold. Crazy money indeed. It was time to take another weekly special orders quest. We went with Gus's famous omelette. He just wanted eggs. That was the easiest quest I've done so far. Purchased more auto petters, and I just gave him a few eggs, got 3,000 gold. Super easy money. I played some Junimo Kart. This is the first I've ever got to the spore level. Died horrendously to the very first section of this level. Just could not get past those mushrooms. Got past woods only to fall and die miserably. So there you go. That's my update with how good I'm getting at Junimo Kart. Got a mini fridge off Gus. Couldn't use it though. House was too small. Got a deluxe coop upgrade from Robin though. And I also planted some tree fertilizers on my new ever-growing tree farm up in the quarry. Got a snake vertebrae there. Super rare. Super lucky for me. Just needed one more for Professor Snail. I'll actually get that very, very quickly. Super luck. Got Clint to break open a few golden coconuts here. Got the last artifact I needed for Professor Snail. Thus the names began. Saitama, Genos, Metal Knight, Blast, Metal Bat, Tatsumaki, Super Alloy, and King. Who do you think they all belong to? So I completed all of the fossils for Professor Snail. Lots of rewards for me. I also got another void chicken. I'm going to call that Garu. What a nice way to finish off the collection. Made more cakes, put more starfruits into those. Got some more auto petters as well to fill up the remainder of the coops. And we went to Robin for, yes, another coop for Robin to put down. Pennywise, another void chicken for us. Pennywise is such a great name. So, these are all the auto grabbers set up in all the coops. As you can see, it makes life way easier to just run into each one, pick up the eggs from the auto grabbers and pick them up off the ground. I still got the farming XP for grabbing the eggs. The auto grabbers just generate the XP for me instead. So I went to the secret woods with my sweet jet berry. got another star drop there, which was nice. I also went to the Spirit's Eve event here as well. I just picked up a golden pumpkin. I also back into the Georgia Mart, purchased more auto petters. And I also went down to Barney and I purchased an auto grabber just to put into those coops, because I want an auto petter and an auto grabber in each coop. Look at all our chickens now. So many chickens, so much fluffiness, so much love. It was also a really sad day because this was the last time that I was going to get to see my lovely chickens outside. Winter was upon us, and I found it really hard to go to sleep that night. I didn't want to accept the fact that my chickens were going to stay indoors for the whole season. I just couldn't bear the thought. Suddenly, I got a magnificent idea. It just hit me like a flash of lightning. What if I got my rug and slept with the chickens to keep them company in this cold, harsh weather? I fell asleep with the chickens that night. It was true friendship between farmer and chicken. The next day I woke up to find out that my chickens weren't inside. What was happening? It was winter. Where did my chickens go? I was very, very confused. I went outside only to find out that it wasn't winter. It was indeed spring. For some reason I managed to sleep through a whole season with my chickens. I could not believe it. What was even more strange was that nobody came to check on me at all for the whole season. Not even Mayor Lewis. So I got another coop off Robin, of course, and when that coop was being ordered, I thought about what happened with the chickens. And I'm just going to sum the whole thing up to some sort of divine intervention. So I spent the rest of today cutting down trees. I came across this huge, lovely patch of weeds. I took so much satisfaction in just cutting that away with my sword. I also went back to Ginger Island. Lots of weeds back on the farm. Cut all them down, not only to get hay, but to get fibre, which I needed badly. So I planted some taro tubers to pick up some nice taro roots. The reason why I did this was because I wanted to get some more golden walnuts to get into Key's secret walnut room. I was very close. I also summoned the frog. He checked out the melon. He gave me some golden walnuts for that. He also gave me some golden walnuts for the other fruits as well there. For example, I believe it was garlic and the wheat. Got access to a new area, which meant more golden walnuts for me. So I picked up the few that I could get. I also did a volcano dungeon run just to get some stored other resources. I also spoke to this NPC here. Her name is Birdie. To start the Birdie chain quest to get more golden walnuts. Basically, you have to trade up in order to get the item to give back to Birdie to get the lovely golden walnuts. And she gives you 5 in total, which is really nice. So once you're finished with Gus there, he gives you the Stardew Valley rose. And if you know a little bit about the NPCs, it doesn't take too long to figure out who will take what off you, you know? Like, you can probably figure out the advanced TV remote is given to George, you know? George gives you an Arctic shard, you can give that to the wizard. Wizard gives you a worm, you can give that to Willy. And then, Willy being the last piece of the puzzle, will give you a pirate's locket. You can take that straight back to Birdie. Now, she doesn't appear on rainy days, so once I get a non-rainy day, I can hand that into Birdie, and I can get some golden walnuts. I also managed to complete the Gembird puzzle, and that gave me enough golden walnuts to get into Key's secret walnut room. I went with Skull Cavern Invasion for 40 key gems, and I didn't have any staircases on me, but what I did have was a load of bombs that I bought and made from iron ores and coal that I had accumulated, and I also got Robin to do another barn this time. So you're probably thinking, why a barn? You're not doing coops? There's a reason why I put another barn. It's a little bit of a surprise. We will get to that later on in the playthrough. We only have 11 days to go, so it won't take too long actually. But there's a reason for the barn. So, next up we have Huey, Billy, Starlight, Homelander, Queen Maeve, The Deep, Black Noir, A-Train, Frenchie, Stormfront, Soldier Boy. Can you guess who those characters are from? That was the next theme we had for our lovely chickens. It's quite a force of chickens we're assembling. Blew all the trees out of the quarry, collected all the wood. I did the Skull Cavern Invasion quest today because it was a super lucky day. Despite having super luck, it didn't do me well because I was still getting swarmed with enemies. But I did down a few prismatic shards and radioactive ores here and there, so it wasn't too bad. So I got lucky, came across some treasure rooms here. What am I going to get inside this chest? As you can see, I prioritise healing first because you never know. A fabulous red slime egg. Lovely. I got level 10 combat. We're going to go with brute. More damage is better. So with the few pieces of radioactive ore I got, I'm going to turn those into bars. With the key gems, I'm going to get the key to the town, which means accessing the likes of Marty and Robin will be much easier. I also did another volcano dungeon run in the hopes to get something decent. I did get something decent. I got the mermaid boots, one of the best boots in the game. I was so happy with those. So I went back to Stardew Valley, collected my bars. I'm going to sell all those for huge amounts of money. Back to Robin, we're going to upgrade the barn to the big barn. And I also put up an ostrich egg. So you've probably figured it out by now. The chickens need someone to look up to. They need someone to inspire them, empower them. That would be the job of the ostrich. So we're going to do the extended family key quest today. Easy 20 key gems. But we will have to prepare for this quest. We didn't do a whole lot of fishing, you know, later on in the game once we got access to the tea saplings. We kind of forgot about fishing for a while. So I had to go purchase an iridium rod. I had to enchant the rod until I got the master enchant because my fishing skill was only level 8. The master can be fishing skill of 9 and the trout suit can be a fishing skill of 10. I also put a trap bobber on there as well to make these legendary fish a little bit easier to get. I also got the tropical fish special orders quest, which I'll do at Ginger Island later. So the first few legendaries are easy, but the last two are ferociously hard. The legend 2, super hard. Level 10 farming though, super happy with that. And look at all the money we get. 75,000 gold for selling bars. So next up was literally a 3-minute in real life log battle with the Glacier Fish Jr. It put up some fight, but I caught it in the end. So, time to do the special orders quest. I needed 5 lionfish, 5 blue discus, and 5 stingrays, which I pulled up out of the waters over at Ginger Island. I made 241,000 gold that day. That was from a backlog of mayonnaise, and there was some starfruit white in there as well, just so you know. So, I wanted to make the ostrich's barn look really comfy, because he was the only ostrich in it. So I put the aquarium inside it and filled it up with fish, so that when the ostrich broke up out of his egg, he'd have something to look forward to. So I spent today processing eggs. Look at all the void mayonnaise that I get back. Tons of it. Gonna sell all this for huge amounts of money. I was just living off mayonnaise here. I also went to Joja Mart and I surprised Morris by giving him 500,000 gold. The theatre upgrade. I bought some movie tickets. It was time to get some auto peddlers as well. I'd go to the movies with Shane, see if I could woo him into giving me more secrets. He did like the stack I got him, but unfortunately he did not like the movie. I got some more autograbbers off Marty, just so the ostrich would have an easier life, because the autograbber would just clean up its mess. I also got some ornamental hay bales, just to make the ostrich even more comfortable again. I did the egg festival again in day 96, and guess what? I won. I destroyed those kids. This time, instead of getting a straw hat, I got 1,000 gold. I was actually pretty happy with that. 1,000 gold isn't too shabby. The ostrich has been born. We're going to call the ostrich Ned Stark. Honour and loyalty. That's what our ostrich stands for. And in this farm, the ostrich won't die for it. It'll live forever. So it's time to get another coop off Robin. And we're giving Shane more beers, of course. We got Shane up to max hearts. Will he divulge more secrets to us? Let's find out. So Shane invited me to a game. The Tunnelers were playing. He wanted me to go with him tonight. I got super excited. I got so excited that I decided to make a Tunnelers jersey using cloth and pepper poppers. Don't ask me how it works, it just works. The sewing machines in this game are magical after all. So with my Tunnelers jersey, I went to the game, but before I did, I wanted to surprise Shane with marriage. However, my house wasn't big enough to get married, so I couldn't actually marry Shane and move him into the ultimate chicken farm. We did, however, see a great game with the Tunnelers. Finally, day 100, we made it. Look at all these super happy chickens. Well, they're not happy today because I wasn't keeping an eye on the silo and we ran out of hay. Because it was raining, they couldn't eat the grass. But these chickens will get over it very quickly, especially now that they have the lovely Ned Stark leading the way. Ned knows all about survival, don't you, Ned? So, this concludes our challenge video. I really hope you enjoyed this one. This challenge video took me ages to make. It took me almost a month. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it.